All right, I know I'm kind of blurry, and I have no idea why. I think my webcam is taking a shit on me, but that is neither here nor there. So we're just gonna have to roll with it. So I might be a little bit fuzzy today, but hopefully we'll get that fixed sometime soon. My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist, and I keep an eye on the 2A space. Actually, looking over here, it doesn't look bad, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Today, we're going to be joined by a couple different people. And the first guy that we're going to be joined by is Flying Rich. But before we bring on Flying Rich, we are sponsored by JSD Supply. JSD Supply is where you can get all your building needs from barrels and slides and P80 kits in their MUP one, which is basically it is a P320 kit. So let me go ahead and bring on Rich here. Rich, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Yep, yep. You ready to bring on our guest?
Yeah. And I just want to say thanks for the shout out.
No. What's shout out?
Nothing.
Okay. And we're gonna bring on Suckboy Tony live, fresh off the assassination of the
Oh,
former Japanese Prime Minister. Here it is, Suckboy Tony.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Not
the
bad,
true
right?
Lord
Sorry,
of War.
dude. I had to do that.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's definitely brought me a lot of attention. Mostly good.
So,
No ATF
ha-
visits at least.
has media reached out to you, or are they just, like,
No, I think the only people that actually reached out to me was Ares Armament. They're just a British company that does a
oh,
lot of
okay.
research into guns. And they reached out basically asking how it worked. For
Mm-hmm.
their and they had like an internal publication or something. They're pretty much the only news outlet that actually reached out to me, and they ended up writing a pretty good article too on that. I think it should be public by now. And yeah, they didn't mention me as the designer of the gun, luckily. So I did hear
Right.
that a Japanese news station named me as the designer, but I can't find that one.
Oof. Oof.
That
So, what's
is
mom and dad think?
bad.
I haven't mentioned the assassination thing to them. I don't know. They know I'm working on electronic gun. I guess actually I probably should mention it to them because they know that I'm working on electronic guns, and they've probably heard the news about the prime minister. I should probably let them know that I had nothing to do with that.
All right, so tell the Prime Minister story because for people that aren't fully up to speed.
Yeah, so the ex-Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, I guess, was assassinated a couple weeks ago, I think like 2 weeks ago, by somebody using a homemade gun that was electrically ignited. I think it was a double barrel, like sawed-off shotgun type thing. A lot of people are speculating how exactly it worked. I don't think it used like my design of electrical ignition is kind of like a car's spark plug where it just arcs between 2 points. It looked like his design was using something like a rocket motor igniter or just like
Mm-hmm.
steel wool and running current through steel wool to ignite the powder. I didn't see any fancy electronics besides the batteries on there. So I think it was a more crude version, but obviously it worked. So, and yeah, he ended up killing the prime minister.
On the
And
second shot.
yeah,
Or
second shot. And yeah, so he had the double barrel, so that was his last shot too. And they raided
so
his home and found like a 9 barrel shotgun too.
so pretty much it was like a blunderbuss almost.
Yeah, essentially. It was pretty much as crude as you can get. I don't know. I mean, for the powder too, he must have made his own black powder, it looked like. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you can really get powder easily in Japan,
Oh no,
so
no, Japan, you can't get sharp sticks. You
yeah.
or foul language. That's unavailable also.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you see Brandon Herrera's video where he duplicated the firearm?
Yeah, I got like halfway into it and then got distracted and then I was going to come back and then it got taken down. So I haven't actually finished it, but I got to the part of him blowing it up.
Oh,
Which made
okay.
me feel a little bit better about myself since I haven't blown up something that bad yet. But
Well, like the one pipe, what, ejected out of the back on the first shot?
yeah, it looked like the end cap just kind of blew off, which
Yeah,
is
that
probably to be
that was
expected.
kind of scary, freaking dangerous. The way it
Yeah,
looked.
yep. That's
Um,
why, yeah, definitely a good thing he was off to the side on that. Probably for most gun injuries, it's best to test fire standing on the off to the side of it.
well, that's like everybody was joking at me. I got it over here. I can't touch it. But the Glock 34 bullpup, originally designed by Control Pew, I've done like a couple of versions of a remix on it.
Mhm.
You know, I went to Hank Strange's with the gun. It worked pretty good there. And then I did like another modification to it and test fired at home, and it was like stovepipe, stovepipe. I'm like, but so let's close out Brandon Herrera. Then I want to talk about your projects. I was kind of, not like a Mr. fill in the blank, whatever chemistry. I know some chemistry. I'm definitely not DLD After Dark as far as, knowledge of energetics.
Yeah.
But I was amazed, Brandon Herrera's got like barbecue charcoal, bought this at the, drugstore and whatever and mixed it together. And I was like, holy frickin' cow. That's total anarchist cookbook badassery.
Yep. And honestly, you don't even need that. One thing that I've been experimenting with too, and there's a couple videos on, is just match heads, taking regular off-the-shelf matches, cutting off the match heads, and grinding that up. If you are using
That
the
could be
strike,
dangerous.
yeah, I was gonna say if you're using the strike anywhere matches, make sure you grind it up really carefully and in small batches because that will go up on you.
Is the key not to use anything metal in the grinding? Like,
Yeah, I think mortar and pedestal is my
yeah.
mom's mortar and pedestal is what I used. But yeah, I messed around with that in high school for stuff,
Oh,
and
we
then
all did.
yeah, and then revisited it now that I saw a YouTube video of somebody shooting a revolver. I think it was a 338 special revolver, and they only lost like 20% muzzle energy using the
Whoa.
yeah. So I was yeah, it seems like it can definitely be done, especially with some refinement. So that's something I really want to look into as well, just so you don't have to even be mixing chemicals. Not
All
sure
right.
what's more dangerous, crunching up match heads or mixing chemicals, but
So, can you tell everybody what your day job is?
yeah, well, I'm just in school for mechanical engineering now, and I guess I repair stuff at Whole Foods when the water system breaks. But that's pretty much just whenever stuff breaks type
So, how
job.
many Whole Foods employees know what your hobby is?
Zero. I don't think any of them would appreciate it very much, but they only know me as the guy that comes in once a month to fix stuff when everything. Usually the store is like flooding when I have to come in, so at that point they probably don't care too much. But
Right, right.
eh.
Yeah, it's kind of. So I do cloud engineering, and usually what it is, I'm trying to think how to say this without sounding demeaning. Usually there's people that work in the data center, and the data center is super, super, super secure. Nobody can get in, palm scanner, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 or 4 people allowed in the data center. And in 15 years, I've never touched a server.
Mhm.
But I got to tell the people that never opened that specific, make model server how to repair it, or, install parts, swap parts, blah. So it's like I'm Googling, I'm getting manuals, putting a document together, finding a YouTube video. Anyhow, all that being said, I'm on site building a server, or a number of servers, and there's like deskins. There's like these huge deskins. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to build a dryer container for my filament, and I'll keep these deskins. I asked like, hey, can I keep them? And the guy I'm working with said, yeah, take whatever you want. And the one guy, like a PC tech, working back there, he's like, oh yeah, I usually bring them home, throw them in my gun safe. I was like,
Oh,
I didn't go. I didn't do that either, but
yeah.
It's like there needs to be a secret handshake or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Man, the supply of deskins is a really nice thing to have. Luckily, I'm in Arizona, so I don't really need it, but it's still definitely nice to have around.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, now so air conditioning in Arizona, you do like swamp coolers is typically.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm in northern Arizona too, up in the mountains. So I think right now it's only like 75 out.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, it's super nice. And we still get snow in the winters and all that. So it's really nice up in the mountains. And yeah, all we really need is a swamp cooler.
Mm-hmm. Which doesn't work when the humidity's high. Works when
Yeah,
humidity's low.
yep. And yeah, right. It's monsoon season now too, so it's been raining almost every day
Oh
around me,
crap.
which is why it's so cool. So it's been humid, but still it's mid
Oh, okay.
70s, so I
Yeah,
don't mind it.
that's livable.
Yeah.
So Crumpy with his high tech and expensive computer setup, he said his Mac rebooted. He texted me,
Oh,
and I'm working. I don't know if you're a computer geek at all, but I've got a 12-year-old MacBook Pro that I have more like my desktop than a laptop. It's a laptop, but I don't take it off my desk,
yeah.
and I have 2 monitors plugged in, all that crap. So, but when they came out with the new M1, I got my daughter one, and I was hoping to buy her like the $1,200 MacBook Air,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Oh, but I want the ports," and I'm like, and then
Yeah.
because basically MacBook Air, you got USB-C and that's it. You
Mhm.
don't have the SD card, you don't have. And what I liked about the new MacBook Pro that came out, which is what she ended up getting, is they brought back MagSafe and they brought back. I didn't like the touch bar. They brought back the function keys.
Oh,
And
I didn't even know they got rid of them actually.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So Crumpy likes the touch bar. So now they have the M2 MacBook Pro. Then the original one was the M1 chip. The M2, no MagSafe, and brought back the touch bar. I'm like, I've got the money.
Mhm.
So I was ready to buy like a $3,600 laptop
Yeah.
because I mean this has lasted me 10 years. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
$3,600 for 10 years. That'll last me the rest of my career.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So I wasn't feeling bad about doing it. Anyhow, I yammered on a little off topic. So tell us about your projects.
Yeah, so right now, basically, I'm working on electrical ignition and electromagnetically locked rifles. So basically, the current form of my gun right now is a 50 cal rifle, which shoots 3D printed cases, or I should say, it uses 3D printed cases. Yeah, actually, I can probably hold one up. So. This is actually the entire cartridge, and you can see there's that's a 357 Magnum core inside to give it weight, and then basically a 3D printed jacket on the outside, and then a resin printed case, and then a resin printed backside. And the beautiful thing about this is it doesn't need primers, which is basically the entire goal of the project, which started in like 2020 during the big ammo shortage and primer shortage.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, and I was trying to reload my own ammo or trying to get into reloading. Couldn't find any primers. I'm like, shit. All right, I'll just design my own gun that doesn't need primers. And luckily, there's a YouTuber and tech girl named Naomi Wu from
Okay, yeah,
China. Yeah, she's really cool.
the sexy cyborg.
Yep. And she's awesome. And she was following me and she sent me some electronics, which are basically just like spark plugs. Let's see if I can
Oh, that's crazy.
kind of just dangling out here. But yeah, it's just this little box here. And that's the entire ignition unit. Um, so that will that she sent me those basically to test out, and I found that they work to ignite gunpowder, black powder, and smokeless powder, and so I just incorporated that, kind of turned the gun, like the chamber in the barrel, and I'm thinking of it as like a combustion chamber in, or I should say, a cylinder of an engine where It's
Mhm.
basically just 2 probes in the chamber, arcs between it, and instead of gasoline that it's igniting, it's
So,
igniting a
do the pins
powder.
go into the back of the case a little bit? Is that what goes on, or?
Yeah, so there's one basically one probe goes in the back like a firing
Mhm.
pin, and then there's one probe at 90 degrees in the chamber. So it just arcs like, yeah, one goes in, and then let's see, it might be it's gonna be out of focus. But yeah, basically one firing pin goes in there, and then there's just gonna be another one sitting on top of it.
So, does that puncture the case, or the case has to be timed?
Yeah, no, it punctures straight through the case.
Oh, okay.
Just like
Cool.
a needle going right through it. Goes in like a 1/4 inch about.
Yeah, sorry
Now-
about that, guys. I'm back.
Now, you said electric ignition, and it's electrically locked?
Yeah, so I'm also, since I already need a battery, one thing that I found to kind of simplify the operating mechanism was using a solenoid, which is it's an electromagnet basically. So when you run current through it, it not magnifies.
Yeah, it electrifies
Yeah,
the
makes it
coil.
magnetic. Yeah, and pulls plunger down essentially. So I'm using that to unlock the bolt. So essentially, the bolt has this might be sexual, but the bolt, it just has like a cutout that the locking lug goes up into and locks it from moving back and forth, and then the solenoid just pulls it back out.
So, power off on the solenoid, breech is open?
Without power, a spring will still return it to
Okay.
the locked position. You can
Okay.
manually, you can
Push it in
manually
and then-
operate it, but I guess if your battery's out, you can't really shoot it anyway. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I
Cool.
found the nice part too is the solenoid only costs like $20. The ignition unit costs $5 to $10. The battery's like 10 to 20, so everything ends up being really cheap.
Right. So, $10 to $20 battery using a gel cell battery. What are you using?
I'm using a LiPo right now, so just
Okay.
like a 3S.
So, like model airplane or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, I had some sitting around from drones,
Mhm.
so that's what I went with.
You fly drones?
I used to. Yeah, I was into building. I had a FPV drone that I was trying to build. Got it working for a while, and then it broke, and never got back into it. But something
Oh,
I
gosh.
wanna try again.
I
Once,
love FPV. First
Yeah,
FPV
all right. So I've flown model airplanes, model helicopters, and not the modern model helicopters with like the heading lock gyros, the ones where the gyro did a little bit of stabilization.
Yeah.
But because I'm a pilot, it was stupid simple for me to get my drone license. And I saw all of these get rich quick with your drone license stuff.
Mhm.
I'm like, that'd be a good side hustle. Had my drone cert for I don't know how many years, did nothing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, couldn't find a job. And want to shout out Gun Doctor TV. How's it going, man?
Yeah, to get your drone license, you have to learn a lot about like freaking sectional charts and stuff like that.
But because I've already done that,
Yeah.
it was in the actual test is like a retard test, and maybe I shouldn't say that. Basically, I was like, "Ooh, I got like 85. I passed." It's like, no, you got to go back, get 100, and you got to answer the 3 questions you got wrong again. I'm like, you mean I can keep going back until I get 100? Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like those HR things. It's like sexual harassment is when like A, B, C, or D, or all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to pass with a certain whatever. And God bless all of you that are self-employed that don't have to do that.
Hopefully the actual pilot's test is a little bit more stringent.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's you get 65 questions, 3 hours, and it pulls from a pool of like 660 questions. So yeah, both I'm instrument rated. So I had to do a test for private and a test for the instrument. And that's you'll use the whole 3 hours. John will do it in 20 minutes.
Here's the thing about that. All you really need to do is get they have brain dump for the questions.
Mhm.
You just memorize the questions and answers, and then you're done.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it kind of that way. There's a Gleam makes all the books, the study guides, and the way my instructor told me to do it is you do a chapter, read the chapter, do the test in the back of the chapter. The ones you got wrong, reread the chapter, go back, take the test till you get it right, till you get 100% on each chapter. When you're done, go take the test.
All right.
But anyhow, so what? All right, you described the ammo, you described the ignition, you described how it locked. What's the rest of what you got going?
Yeah, so basically the entire frame and almost, I would say like 95% of the parts on this are 3D printed. I don't know if I can actually touch guns on live streams. I know P80 Ralph says that can get you kicked off YouTube, so I'll avoid that. But basically, it's 90% 3D printed. It's a 3D printed barrel. The rifling is 3D printed into it. It's kind of like Whitworth rifling. Most people probably haven't heard of that, but basically it's rifling that's both in the barrel and already engraved into the bullet.
The cartridge, okay.
Yeah, so this bullet is printed with octagonal rifling into it. Probably
cool.
can't see on this, but maybe. But yeah, so it's printed with octagonal rifling, and that matches up with the barrel's octagonal rifling. So they match together, and that actually spins the bullet. Because obviously, if you're using a 3D printed barrel and a regular lead bullet, you're not going to be able to like dig into the lead bullets to actually get a rifling. So that's pretty much the only way to get solid rifling with a 3D printed barrel.
So what's the chamber made of?
Yeah, the chamber, so it's basically the entire inside of the barrel is 3D printed, and then it has a steel, I guess this is a smaller pipe, but yeah, basically just a steel metal pipe surrounding it. So basically the rifling's on the inside, and it's constrained on the outside by the steel pipe. And that also really, so yeah, so the rifling when it's shot is basically pushed up against that steel pipe, and the steel pipe is so strong the plastic doesn't want to move.
Okay.
And so it's surprisingly strong. The rifling hasn't worn down after like 100 rounds.
No way. What are you printing out
of? Just regular PLA.
No way. That's crazy. I'm sure you're into nylon or,
No, yeah.
PLA?
Yep, just basic PLA. I think PLA plus, but
do you like epoxy that PLA into the barrel?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a barrel around here, but basically, yeah, it's a cutout on the inside of the barrel, and then I pour epoxy down into that cutout, and then just shove the pipe in there. And I also use that pipe to connect two sections of barrels together because I can only print like 8 inches, or I guess like 9 inches at a time, and I wanted a 16-inch barrel.
Gotcha.
So I had to connect them with that steel pipe.
So now I guess the next question is what you have really a firearm by the definition of a firearm.
Yeah, so that's if it was, I guess I should say I believe it is a firearm. To my knowledge, there's some question though because it's black powder and all that. A lot of people think black powder automatically makes it not a firearm, but the actual law says fixed ammunition. If it uses fixed ammunition, it's a firearm. Which to me would mean, yeah, muzzle loading, pouring in the powder separately. But then you have like the old like paper black powder cartridges, which has the bullet, the powder, and I don't think those had a primer, but it was still the bullet and the powder contained right next to each other. And those weren't considered fixed cartridges. So maybe there's something that it has to have a primer inside of the cartridge. And maybe if it's like externally primed, like a flintlock or something, then it's not a firearm, but it's legal mumbo jumbo. And I mean, since I can legally own a firearm, it doesn't really matter to me except for like the lengths and not being able to suppress it like I'd want to. So I'm just assuming it's a firearm, and then maybe once I get some money, hire Matt LaRogier LaRosier from Fudbusters.
Hey,
Matt needs money. What do you mean? I thought Matt worked for free.
Timmy,
Oh yeah.
Tim has a question out there.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be fun. Unfortunately, yeah. So now it's
Let me
pump
read it.
action.
We
Okay.
do audio only.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
So Rich, go ahead, read it.
Yeah, sure. So Tony, do you have a flip-flop circuit in it to go full auto?
So no, right now, yeah, there's also some weird ATF rulings on electronic triggers. And so if to get it semi-auto even is kind of a legal gray area that again I'll probably want Matt for, but right now it's pump action because specifically you have to there's a manual reloading action, I think it says in the law. So this is not semi-auto and can't really be converted to semi-auto right now, but I do have a lot of ideas for since I have that solenoid in it. There's a lot of really cheap sensors that you can get that'll like detect the bullet, either the bullet when it leaves the barrel, you can have it unlock once the bullet basically hits a certain point in the barrel, or what I want to do is just add a pressure sensor directly into the chamber and have it unlock when it reaches a certain threshold, so that way you can use wildly different pressure or wildly different like powders and still get reliable cycling. But yeah, so once I do that, then I'll have to have like a computer microprocessor thing that tells it to tells it to cycle, and probably has some firing mechanisms in it. But so that having the microcontroller might lead to some problems legally. I think we'd have to make it so it's not like easy to mess around with the software.
Well, you could do like a PIC microcontroller. There's like some super small PIC microcontrollers. They're only under $10.
Yeah, you look at. I have a digi trigger in one of my ARs.
Oh, really?
That's cool AF.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that because yeah, there has to be a way to do it. But it's just about finding the right legal way to go about it without winding up in jail.
Digi-trigger is like basically like a binary trigger, but ran on the batteries. And what it does is it not only does it turn to put in binary mode, it actually basically lessens the trigger pull down to under a pound.
Okay.
And like the travel's like a lot smaller, so you can just like just like wiggle your finger, and it digitally controls it, so you can't outrun the bolt.
Yep. Yeah, I figured that might be an issue with that short of trigger pull. But yeah, that's a really nice thing about electronic triggers too. Like my guns are bullpup now because you can put the trigger wherever, and you don't have to worry about that like trigger connection that makes bullpups really sloppy. And yeah, you can basically turn the trigger pull into like a mouse click.
Right.
So
make it Bluetooth.
A trigger by wire.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Essentially fly by wire, just like everything
Dude,
else.
you can put a Bluetooth module on it.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any laws against remote firing. I don't think so, as long as you're in control of it.
I think there might be, because somebody set up a hunting thing once with people that you can go on and take shots at animals through the internet, and they passed some type of law because of that. So I'm not sure if that affects it. You got to look up exactly what it says. Another question from
Dark has a question. I'm so impressed with your work. Your Nerf bullets look beautiful. My question is, did you start this so SB Tony could always be armed, or are you inspired to arm others as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, it did kind of start selfishly a little bit, wanting to shoot cheaply myself. But I mean, there's kind of, I should say, my motivation has been like the only reason I took it up personally is because I didn't have much money to shoot regular ammo a lot. So I wanted to make a really cheap ammo system. And then I realized, oh, yeah, everybody else does too. I should probably post it and, let other people see my designs and stuff. That was always the plan, was to be open source with it, but it did kind of light a fire under my ass to get the files at least released into beta testing, even though like the gun's not perfect in my mind yet. Obviously, it's probably going to be a while before it is. So I did feel kind of weird releasing something that wasn't, you know, perfect, but, you know, it works. I know it's 100% safe. So I wanted to just get it out there so that other people can use it. Hopefully, like Myanmar, the conflict in Myanmar definitely motivated me a lot more to make this publicly released and all that. So
Yeah, they have a military juncture in Myanmar,
Yeah,
which used to be called Burma. It's in Southeast Asia. The military basically had a coup, and the government was ran by the military, and then they went to democracy for like a year, and then the military said, "We're not really digging this democracy, so we're going to take back over."
yep,
Wow.
yep. And people weren't too happy about that. So, and they're actually using some 3D printed guns like the FGC9 over there. I've seen a couple videos of them fighting with it. So,
Wow. Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah.
So the casings, are they reloadable?
No. So actually, yeah, the casings are disintegrating. So there's no
Huh.
extraction actually involved. Basically, when it fires, the chamber is a little bit oversized. It's about like maybe that size. And so when it fires, the case actually expands, and the expansion is bigger. Basically, it's past its elongation at break point for any
Mhm.
engineering students or whatever. But yeah, that's the value of how far it'll stretch before it breaks. So I just had to make the chamber a little bit bigger than that value. And now the FDM cases don't shatter as reliably as I wanted them to. These resin printed cases are a lot more brittle, and I can make them a lot thinner too with like
Have
an
you thought
SLA.
about doing FDM with PETG?
No, actually, that was one of my other steps that I need to be getting into here shortly, was trying different
Mhm.
materials. I was thinking,
Yeah, because PETG is brittle.
okay, all right, yeah, that's a good idea, because I was gonna try like PETG, ABS, all that, because I'm not,
Yeah.
basically you want something really brittle for the case.
So I
Yeah,
printed kind
Sorry.
of a mashup of somebody's AR9 lower and the U-bolt, and it's amazing how it shatters like it's, epoxy.
Oh
It
yeah,
it didn't break along layer lines, that kind of thing. It just
Yeah,
so
PETG's brittle. I mean, I think resin is a little bit more, brittle than PETG though.
mhm.
yeah. Yeah, the resin is, I really like the resin printer just for making ammo. I mean, it kind of sucks for everything else, especially for normal gun parts, but for the cases, it's so nice being able to print like 100 cases in 30 minutes, just because the way it prints, it's basically can do an entire layer at the same time. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah. So we got a question here from Timothy Harper. Could you use a coil and capacitor like the ignition system on a car?
yeah. It's basically just what I've found is pretty much anything that can produce an arc. I should say everything that's not piezoelectric, so like barbecue lighters and basically the barbecue, either the electric
Mhm.
barbecue lighters, even though that's technically not piezoelectric, but either way, barbecue lighters don't really work, and then the handheld ones where there's like a lot of resistance, and then you get a click, and then there's one spark. Those don't really work too well, but anything that will provide like a constant arc here. This is a one of my plasma lighters. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
basically anything that gets that purple arc
hmm
will ignite things. I found the same similar circuits that'll work all over, from the coil and capacitor in a car system. For some reason, like speakers, there's some like speaker systems that use arcs of electricity. And then yeah, basically, yeah, you can find the stuff everywhere for it.
How'd you get the name Suckboy Tony?
Yeah, so that was it's from an American Dad episode where the main character Stan has a guy living in his basement named Suckboy Tony, and I just thought it was the funniest name, and it was like right around I probably saw the episode that day, thought it was hilarious, and then it was the same day that I had to make an account on I can't Keybase, I think, was like the original 3D printed gun chat room, and so I just had to pick a stupid name. I'm like, oh, I can't use a name that's tied, or I didn't want to use a name that was like tied to any of my Xbox Live or like gaming accounts or anything. So I wanted something anonymous, and then chose that, not thinking I would ever make it big. I was kind of just planning on lurking. And then now it's kind of just stubbornness. It's funny to make people say it.
Right.
And yeah, now it's really just, I kind of want to see how far I can take the bit. See if I can actually get some like real funding or anything with the name.
Is your actual name Tony or?
No.
Oh, okay.
Which makes it even funnier to me. Which I'm fine being called Tony or whatever, but yeah, I just think it's funny, and now I kind of don't want to change it. So,
All right, it's really weird. I'm like one of the only people in the communities that goes by his real name.
yeah.
What do you mean? Dark Mavis isn't Dark's real name?
Oh, it's Dave. Yeah, it's Dave Albrecht. Oh crap! I just gave his last name away.
Oh well. I know Jeff Rodriguez too, the designer of the Liberator 12K, has his name out there too. Which
cool.
Yeah, that's pretty nice to know that he's not, arrested or anything. He's kind of the canary in the coal mine, I guess,
right.
for the rest of us. So
he's on the list though.
Yep.
So, question on the cartridge. So you have a 357 round in the middle, but it's basically FDM printed to 50 cal.
Yeah, actually, I've got just a plain bullet here, so you can see.
Hold your hand behind it like that. It should focus. Okay.
Maybe. But yeah, so basically, there's a 357 Magnum bullet inside there, and then just a 3D printed jacket around it with the rifling. Yeah, probably won't get in focus. And yeah, you can see like a little bit of the bullet is sticking out there. And that just fits essentially like this is the case, just kind of fits into the case like that, and then you glue it together. So it just kind of uses that bullet lip to connect the two pieces.
So realistically, so does the casing make it all the way out?
Yeah. So I found that it completely shatters in the chamber, and then from looking at the video, it looks like it just leaves a really nice circular like shotgun pattern around the center, like big impact from the bullet. So it seems to work.
And I'm sorry, I said casing, but so the FDM part around the 357, does that make it out of the barrel?
Yep. Yeah. It stays together, and I've done some ballistics gel testing too with it, and it seems like it. So there's a lot of there's a lot of like fragments and shrapnel in the ballistics gel after shooting it, and I wasn't sure if it was from the case shattering or from the actual jacket shattering when it hits the ballistics gel. So I should probably try that test again with different colored jackets and cases. But it seems like the jacket probably shatters on impact, which leaves a really devastating wound cavity, kind of like a hollow point, I guess. And then, that 357 Magnum core can do a lot of the penetration work too. So ends up being pretty devastating. And I could also tell from the ballistics gel that it was spinning it really well. And from the
Oh,
videos,
cool.
I don't see any tumbling. So seems to be stabilizing really well for that.
Nice. People will give me a hard time about my purple shirt. And people are nice. I want to try to be European like you.
So, all right. So you're saying video. What kind of video are you shooting? You have some slow-mo gear? Or?
No, I just use my Samsung phone. I think it's the Samsung S20. I use the slow-mo mode on it.
But doesn't the slow-mo mode run for a few seconds and then it goes normal speed?
That's so I have a slow-mo mode and then a super slow-mo.
Okay, so
and
super slow-mo.
Slow-mo, yeah, and that's what I really need to get, like some sort of timing mechanism, because I am terrible. For a while there, I was trying to hit it and then pull the trigger to get a really nice video, but I think it ends up only recording for like half a second.
So I was going to say, if you had a phone, if you had like a Samsung phone with a headphone jack, you probably could do like a momentary switch into the headphone jack, write some software to read that, and trigger it. Or there's hold on.
There's no headphone jack.
When you get the stupid like tripods, I'm looking for one. I probably got it here somewhere. When you get stupid tripods, you get like a Bluetooth remote trigger.
Yeah. I would say, why don't you just that's something that I was about to bring up, do via Bluetooth.
Yeah. So you could trigger that. So if you're gonna just trigger the gun,
you can build in a Bluetooth module directly into the trigger.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say actually, Mr. Snow Makes. I think you've probably heard of him.
Oh yeah,
he's been on the show a lot.
Oh nice, yeah, I like him. He actually did I met him at the Bear Arms and Bitcoin conference in Miami in like April, and
I wish I went.
Yeah, it was really fun. There was a lot of cool guys there. And it was also the first time meeting a lot of people in person, so it was really nice putting faces to the Twitter usernames. But Mr. Snow had basically my ignition unit. I think he was using the 400 kilovolt version, so a higher voltage, which makes a louder noise. Not as good for ignition, but it makes a louder noise, so it's better for like tasers. And he had a remote version, I believe, for like scaring birds away and stuff. So you can just set like the ignition unit outside and then have a little remote. So I'll probably just ask him. Actually, he showed me and I completely forgot, but he's got some really cheap Bluetooth modules that'll connect directly into my ignition unit.
Yeah, cool. That's what I was thinking. I think that would be a lot easier than trying to have like one of the.
Yeah, you can buy cheapy Bluetooth modules.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be great for testing. I don't know if I'd trust Bluetooth on like an actual gun, but that would work really well for testing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
No, I mean it would just be good to get video that way. Yeah.
The other thing too is there's some guy that I really need to respond to on Discord that offered to lend me his Chronos. I don't remember which version, but one of those actual slow-mo cameras.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it sounds like he's willing to send it out to me. I was hoping to get at a good place with testing, get the gun really reliable, and then get some really nice slow-mo footage of that, and some slow-mo ballistics gel.
Development wise, like how many hours, how much filament, how much pipe and material have you been through?
Oh, so much. I mean, technically I started designing guns like 3 or 4 years ago. And they've changed. I mean, I probably at some points I was going through like a new version every month. So like design, I mean, it usually takes me like a couple weeks to design a new gun from scratch using stuff I learned from the previous version. and then probably like a week or two of printing and assembling. I mean, in total, I've probably gone through like almost, I'm trying to think. I probably go through like 4 or 5 kilograms of filament a month for 4 years. Can't really do the math in my head right now, but a lot. And I pretty much spend like all day, every day doing this. Even when I'm in school, I'll go to class for like 2 or 3 hours and then come back and spend the rest of the 12 hours of the day working on this.
Wow.
So
do you have well, not a GoFundMe. Do you have any place you raise revenue for?
Yeah, I did have a Patreon that was actually getting up there. I think it was up to like $800 a month, which I think.
Oh wow!
I think I calculated like $1,000 a month is enough to. I live very cheaply as a single man, and so I think $1,000 was my goal to work on this full time, without needing any extra jobs.
Oh wow!
That actually got nuked like a week or two ago. Last week it got taken down. They said I was giving out instructions and or weapons as a tier benefit on Patreon, which I wasn't. I was just giving access to the Discord, which is where we discussed everything, and maybe that could be construed as instructions, but it still wasn't on their platform, so I don't know. But
they go to locals.
Go to what?
Locals?
Oh yeah. I switched to Utreon. Their CEO, or some employees reached out to me.
The Canadian dude.
Yeah. Are they Canadian? They're actually
they're
cool.
I'm totally shocked. What is the guy's name, John? The CEO?
I don't know. He's been on the show like multiple.
Yeah, I've emailed him, and he's really cool. Like Hank Strange is doing his show live on Utreon all the time.
Nice. Yeah, they seem really cool. I mean, they reached out to me to get me on the platform, so they have to be okay with guns. So I'm happy. Yeah, so if anybody wants to help support, you can join. Just search Suckboy Tony on Utreon. And then I'm also giving out these plasma lighters as gifts to supporters. I was trying to get these cranked out for all my Patreon supporters, and then it got nuked, and now I'm trying to get people to switch over. So
Utreon is a combination of like YouTube and Patreon. So you can like do a monthly subscription. You can donate also, right? You can super chat, that type of thing.
Yeah, it seems really nice. And the other thing I got set up on too was Odyssey. I know I wanted to make some instructional videos, and I know that's definitely going to get banned on YouTube. So made the switch over to Odyssey. But I'm really liking all of those decentralized platforms that are pro-gun and not just going to take away people's livelihood for nothing, essentially.
So there was a while, YouTube kind of made an announcement that anything over a 50-round magazine was banned. So if you have a PS90
magazine,
I'm sorry, I said 50. I meant 30. So a PS90, the standard mag is 50. So if you had a video, and I had a number of videos with the PS90 in it, it's like I had to pull them all down.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah.
I was going to say, luckily, I got the PS92, which I love back there, but luckily the mags are out of it right now because there's been some kids around, which my room is not a kid-safe room, so.
I made a short so I have a 17-inch laptop case, and, it's like a Pelican case knockoff. And your 5.7 and your long barrel PS90 fit in there disassembled, and the mags fit in the lid. Okay. And I just made a video saying, like, hey, how quick can you assemble it? Just show them pulling out of the case and putting it together and slapping a 50-round mag in. And believe it or not, YouTube didn't have a problem with that. It did as short, didn't do it as a live, but.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that has anything to do with YouTube just trying to promote shorts, where they're like, we'll just let you break the rules a little bit, or.
Now, like Dark, I've done it on my channel. I've, pulled up something, racked it a couple of times, and, nothing happened. Meanwhile, when I had the Glock 34 bullpup And I was obviously, like, the slide wasn't built, it was an unpopulated slide. I was just holding the ports, and I was intentionally wiggling them so you could see nothing was screwed together or connected on a live stream, and, got chopped.
Oh, wow.
It depends. Like YouTube, it's not like an automatic algorithm that does it. They have employees that just troll live feeds.
Well, I'm assuming the AI gives them a heads up and puts it in their queue.
Yeah, but it depends. If they can't get to it, then.
So interestingly enough, those live videos that I did where I'm, racking a slide just recently, and I saw this the first time, Donut Operator. He pulled out like a G19 and he's racking it and, just showing it. And I was like, what the heck? On a live stream. And Dark did it twice. And so I figured, let me give it a go and see what happens.
And then you got.
Nothing. Monetized everything.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason why they're doing it is because to prevent people from committing suicide on live streams. So if they don't catch you doing it and you don't off yourself, they'll just leave it up.
That doesn't really make much sense to me, because that would killing yourself takes like half a second. That would imply that somebody's sitting on stream for like hours and like with a gun, and then they finally get caught and they're like, oh, no more of that, and then they prevented a suicide.
Well, it's to satisfy Congress.
Yeah, I figure that's all the
platforms.
So
officially, YouTube hasn't changed their policy handling firearms on a live stream, but I haven't seen, them being as proactive about it.
Okay.
Now, Hank Strange, he originally was on YouTube with his Who Moved My Freedom podcast. They does like 7 to 9 p.m. He's now on Utreon. And he had a section that he called Gorn, gun porn. And it's like, if you're a guest on the show, and then boom, we pull out the gun for the Gorn section. And, I'm friends with Hank, and he had gotten a call from YouTube, but he didn't say what it was about. I don't know if he had to sign an NDA, but they knew his channel regularly went live with firearms, and they said, hey, we're going to have a new policy coming up about it. I was teasing them that they wanted him in the year-end rewind, but I guess that wasn't the case.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I did hear too that they definitely don't allow shooting on live streams because they were worried about people like accidentally shooting themselves. But
on Instagram, I've done a number of live feeds in my backyard. I'm popping off the ARC or popping off the G34, and Instagram's cool with that. I originally was going to go live on Utreon, but somehow I don't know if it was me or them or whatever, but it just didn't work.
Okay. Yeah, that was actually one thing that I was thinking about doing now that I'm on Utreon, was starting like live stream of just like either CAD assembly or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or assembly of my gun.
We're gonna find out here.
All right.
My 17 HMR.
Ooh.
Good test. It's not a scary black rifle, so they can't get mad.
Right.
Here is my GM4 tactical holster with my Glock 43X. My hollow point in there. Hey, don't worry, it's empty. This is my daily carry. Here is a little.
Ooh, titanium blue.
Titanium blue.
Ooh. I like that.
Right there. There you go.
Nice. I guess I'll show off mine too.
Heck yeah.
But they probably won't even notice if it's not a real gun, YouTube. Don't worry. I've been
so I like that you're using the threaded rod there. That's kind of like Zip does, Invader Zip.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
And this,
all right, what is that, a $35 Amazon optic or what?
No, this is a SIG. I actually probably shouldn't have this on there. It's a $100 optic, so not much better, but it's made by SIG at least. I actually really like this optic. If anybody's looking for something cheap,
sorry, I'm looking at. I have my arc in parts right now, so I did put the Fiatchi, red dot on it.
All right. Nice. Yeah, I need to get into the cheaper Amazon optic game, especially for these printed.
I got the bolt action 50 cal from Safety Harbor Firearms.
Oh.
And
okay.
I had a 50 cal rated optic getting shipped to me, but I was going to go to the range that weekend with some friends. We were shooting clays. I'm like, let me bring the 50 cal out. And I'm like, what can I get? And it's like, I saw I could get the $35 red dot, overnight. And I'm like, let me throw the $35 red dot on. I zeroed it at 100 yards. Like my yard from the very front to the very back is about 100. Like, look, if it lasts 1 or 2 rounds, whatever, who cares?
Here's my Boog rifle.
Hell yeah.
You need some igloos on that.
Yeah. The magazine has that.
Oh, does that mean you're an MV? Now, did we do the MVE quiz? Do we have to do that with all of our new guests?
This is my favorite. This is my favorite firearm right here.
Ooh.
So Crumpy is repping the MVE Gadsden flag right behind him.
Oh yeah, definitely a terrorist flag.
Yep. So that's militia violent extremist for those just tuning in. So yeah, a Gadsden flag, the Betsy Ross flag.
Here's my little SBR, my 10.5-inch SBR.
Suppressed.
Suppressed.
I like that.
Ooh.
Light you up.
That's John's home defense gun.
It is. My downstairs home defense gun.
Here we go.
Speaking of home defense gun, John, are all your toys in the store yet?
What?
The pistols you ordered.
Not all of them yet.
So, because this guy was it Maryland or Delaware? The police visited him because he bought more than 2 pistols. So John ordered 20 pistols, and he's having them sent to 4 different FFLs, and is going to pick them up all on the same day. Now, apparently, the ATF, I don't know if they watch this stream or the John Crump News stream.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're actually going to visit John. So,
oh man, I am very curious how that. I mean, you have no legal obligation to talk to them, right? Well, yeah, they're cops. You don't. I guess unless you have an FFL, but
yeah, they make it out to be like, hey, look, just show me what you got, and I'm gonna leave. No issue here. We're cool. Fist bump. Yeah, it's and it's almost like. So I've had 2 plane crashes, and like the first plane crash, the cop asked me for my pilot's certificate. And they always tell you as a pilot, never to surrender your pilot certificate because it's a federal thing. It's not state or local. So if you give it to a county cop, they don't have any reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, yeah, here you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my Grim Reaper.
Nice.
It has the Grim Reaper on top, the Grim Reaper on the back.
It doesn't sound like you're on the right mic, John.
It's probably now.
Yeah.
Grim Reaper on the back. I don't want to flag myself. And Grim Reaper on the bottom. Here's the top. I don't know if you can see that.
Cool.
I like that.
Yeah. Blacklist barrel.
Crumpy, did you run into the vault room for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just seeing if unloaded, of course. And then we have whoops. Yes. My 44 Magnum.
Ooh. You got a bipod for that, or?
This is my problem solver.
Dirty hairy gun. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're still out there broadcasting because people are commenting.
Yep. I'll just hold this like this. You've the press buttons here.
You're not hitting the allegedly?
It's hard to hit with it. There you go. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, there's a Grim Reaper on the bottom too.
Ooh, hell yeah.
So let's see what happens. Let's see if he stay monetized.
Yeah.
He's
Well, all
already-
right. Let me refresh so I can see the monetization.
Also, bring my gun in there. You can see the this is the solenoid working up and down, so you can see that's
okay.
that's the bolt lock. So then, yeah, if
So-
the battery dies, you can push it in.
Push it down. Now, how you said it's pump action? How do you?
Yeah. Yep.
do not
So
have-
yeah. So basically,
Okay.
go forward, and then when you press this,
Ah.
that basically the button. This is what unlocks it. So you press that to unlock it, and then you can pull it back.
Okay.
So if you're pulling it back, yeah, it doesn't want to go back without the
Okay.
without the button pressed. But then
So do you have to manually drop a round in?
no, it's got a 8-round magazine for it.
Cool.
And so yeah, that just loads
So
up.
now you designed the magazine, spring, follower, all that.
Yep, not the spring. I did at some point. I did design a magazine spring. It wasn't working too well, and I was trying to figure out how to make it rectangular. And
Mhm.
basically, I spent like a day trying to get the dimensions right. I'm like, oh, I wanted these dimensions. Ends up those dimensions that I was trying to get is just an AR-15 mag spring, and they cost like $1.50 online. So I just bought like 20 of them, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll figure that out in a couple months when for the people that can't get AR-15 springs, which I don't know if that's regulated anywhere, but it probably is if they're labeled AR-15 springs. But either way, that's an easy step for somebody to home make.
Well, I mean, you can buy wind chimes, right?
Yeah, yep. And actually, I'm talking to Control Pew and MAF about getting a parts kit thing set up. So
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the firearm on the string.
Alrighty, Crumpy. Well, I think we've been going over an hour.
Yeah, we have been. All right, guys, you can follow me at johncrump.local.com, johncrump.local.com, John Crump News on YouTube. Also, check out my Instagram at Real John Crump. Thank you so much for JFD for making this stream possible. You can follow Flying Rich at Flying Rich on YouTube. Do not follow Fly Rich because that's not Flying Rich, even though they look very, very similar. And don't follow Flying with Rich, even though they're both pilots. It's Flying Rich. Also, follow Flying Rich on all social medias, including Instagram, where you can be his second friend after
No, MySpace.
or MySpace. MySpace. Yeah, that's right. MySpace. On Instagram, you can follow him at Flying Rich _ or official. Flying Rich _ official. And with that, Suckboy Tony, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm just Suckboy Tony 1 on Twitter and Suckboy Tony 2 on Instagram. And let me check my YouTube. Actually, I'll just type in the chat. Hey guys. Now you can just click on my name in the chat.
Yeah, check
and I can also see what my name is. Yeah, it's Suckboy Tony on YouTube. And
like, why are you holding two guns? We want to see if we can get the stream killed.
Surprising Chuck Norris has to ask that. I guess he's the karate guy, not a gun guy, but
because America.
Yeah. And then yeah, if you want to help support or just follow along, you can join my Utreon. And yeah, also the Utreon, if you want to help test, basically the Utreon will link you to the Discord and get you in for testing too. So
hey Tony,
cool.
Are you on Rumble?
No, I am not. I probably should be though.
Okay, somebody was asking.
Yeah, I'm on like whatever platform takes a feed from YouTube. I'm on it.
Okay, yeah, I should really switch over. I do have an Odyssey channel too. And yeah, but yeah, I'm trying to decentralize, get on all the platforms right now.
Yeah, you really should. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow. Rich,
Nope.
would you mind hitting the
And broadcast, we're not coming back tomorrow. It's Thursday.
Thursday, whatever. Thursday, you know
We'll
what
be
I mean.
back Monday.
We'll be back Monday. All right, guys. I love you very much, and I will see you guys later.